no one wants their child to be, I guess, the bully. And then I think you've got to sort of get the facts. But I think one thing we've got to do is separate the fact that the behaviour from the child. So everyone does a little bit of bullying behaviours. So it's really looking at the behaviours which kids do. And one of the things we know that kids do bully is the fact that they often don't empathise with others. So I think one thing we can do is get the facts and then sort of put kids in the position of the other child. I think another thing which is really important is to spend a fair bit of time with your child. We know that positive interactions with adults and parents is one of the ways you can get kids to empathise and get on with it with others as well. So,
is the idea of bullying, is it being over-assessed? I mean, is some behaviour not really bullying,
that's
but
really
it's being spoken of in those terms?
Look, it is. There's a whole lot of emotion around the word bully. As soon as you say the word bully, it's so, and it is overused. I think we've also got to understand what bullying isn't. So essentially, bullying is about lack of power. So it's often intimidation, and it can be physical, it can be verbal, it can be excluding, it can be continuous. But it's about lack of power. So if one child or one person can't get their way out of the situation, then we determine that as bullying. So you've got areas like teasing and sort of a lot of low-level stuff. Not too sure if that fits into the bullying area.
How do you know if your kid's a bully? Because you say you've got to work out the facts. You're going to get one story from your kid, you're going to get one story from the teacher, you might get a crying pupil as well. How do you work out? Because your tendency is to believe your kid.
Oh, look, it is. It is. I think the first thing is often people will tell you. So there is. And I think we often do believe our kids. And one of the things we've got to realise that children only see one side of the story. As they get older, they sort of see all sides of the story. So as parents, I think we need to accept that it may be our child. And then when we do talk to our kids, the way we frame it up is important. Don't back them into a corner. It can be language such as, what part of the story is true? You know, I've heard this, what part of the story is true? And kids will often paint that picture. So it's often how we frame our language with the kids.
And if you've identified it, then where do you go with your child? What do you do next?
Talk about it. It depends on the age. So talk about it with them, quite obviously. We know that 8 and 9-year-olds is a prime bullying time, so we can have good conversations with kids around that age. And one of them is, what should a good friend look like? How should a good friend act? And we're trying to separate the notion of a friend from being a member of a clique. And one of the reasons why kids bully, and we know this, is that they want to be part of a clique. You know, so I want to get on with them, so I'm going to pick on that child. You know, and cliques operate a little bit like this: that you can't be my friend if you're their friend. So those really good conversations with kids around friendships are really important. So essentially, a lot of bullying behaviours are around sort of antisocial type behaviours. So we want our kids to be social. We want our kids to get on. We want our kids to respect others. So they're the sorts of conversations we have with kids.
And what role do the teachers play? Or because we've heard in the last couple of weeks teachers being bullied, and an unprecedented level of parents bullying the teachers.
And that's right. And I guess one of the things we've got to learn and understand that bullying is a learned behaviour. So kids sometimes pick that up from parents who use those high power strategies. So teachers sometimes in a really difficult situation. And I know that they use one great strategy, and that's why there comes a point where you as a parent need to get the school, or sometimes it happens not in a school, it can be a footy club or a sporting club, you need to get them on side. And that is when it becomes continuous. So we don't jump in straight away. We try and work it out ourselves. If it continues, get the school on side. And I think, and I sort of work in both, I work with parents, I work with schools, so I can see both sides of the story. I think we've got to give schools a chance. It won't happen overnight. Often bullying takes quite a while to work itself through. So teachers need to be informed, but also they need to be given a chance to work things out. And
just one final one. We are getting short on time, but the preventative nature of it, I know you're big on making sure that they don't copy the bullying that's happening at home.
Oh, definitely. I think it's really useful to model what I call low power behaviours as parents. So it's, you know, let your kids see you compromising, giving in, talking things through. They're the sorts of things which is really important. As I said at the start of it, we need to, as parents ourselves, be able to take a breath sometimes at home and just think things through before we sort of jump in. And I think we can sort of model that and show that to our kids as well.